reside, cracking codes to flip the tide. Zeros and ones on battle cry. System fall, we watch them die. Hack the gap, no turning back. Red meets blue in the cyber attack. Firewall burns, the signals cracked. Hack the gap, yeah.
Let's dive straight into the heart of it. The blue box, the hacker's holy grail before the internet was even a gleam in a modem's eye. Back then, phreaking wasn't just a pastime. It was a rite of passage. You want legends? Joe Ingressia, aka Joy Bubbles, didn't just whistle tunes. He whistled 2600 hertz and bent the entire phone network to his will. That's not some tall tale, it's court-documented history. And John Draper, the man they call Captain Crunch, didn't need fancy gear. He weaponized a toy whistle from a cereal box and tore through the Bell system like it owed him money. Show me a modern-day CISO who's exploited a breakfast trinket, and I'll eat my hat, whistle and all. My origin story? Worcester, Massachusetts. 1980. Picture this. I wander into this graveyard of electronics, rusted-out relics, the stench of industrial decay in the air. And this guy, a human soldering iron with burns all over his arms, shuffles up. He hands me a beer-soaked schematic for a blue box, whispers, "Don't get greedy, kid," and vanishes into the haze. Naturally, I ignored him. Spent weeks dumpster diving at Radio Shack, soldering under the light of a dying bulb, chasing that pure, uncut Joy Bubbles thrill. The first time I hit LA from a payphone in the middle of nowhere, I felt like a god hooked up to a dial tone. Hijacked some poor DJ's radio feed just for kicks. That kind of reckless, dumb power, yeah, it's a taste you never really shake. Never. Here's the thing about phreaking. Nobody did it alone. Ma Bell's empire was like a haunted funhouse, full of ghostly voices and secret passageways, busy signals that talk back, loops that turned into party lines, miswired PBXs that became the social clubs of the misfit underground. Crack open a relay, and suddenly you were in a surreal flea market where hackers and oddballs swapped tricks, tall tales, and phone numbers, often from dank basements in forgotten Rust Belt towns. And yeah, I was one of those nerdy kids lighting up loop lines, poring over Bell technical manuals so covered in notes they looked like conspiracy theorists' notebooks. Some nights it was pure chaos and cackling. Other nights you stumbled onto something like a family, frayed wires, shattered dreams, and a whole system born from exploiting broken systems. The irony practically wrote itself. The infamous 2101 conference was part myth, part mainline, a glorified miswired circuit in Vancouver that somehow became ground zero for every quirky brain with a knack for poking at the machine. Forget copper wires, the real infrastructure was secrets and glitches with a gold standard of trade. Fast forward a few years, and the buzz turned into whispers, the crowd got shady, and trust became a relic. But that original spark of anonymous teamwork, it's the same thrill people are still hunting on the farthest reaches of Discord servers and the ghostliest of IRC channels. Time for a trip down memory lane. The original phreakers, just a bunch of adrenaline junkies and puzzle fiends. It wasn't about stealing nickels from Ma Bell. It was pure hacker curiosity. What's behind this locked door? But things escalated fast. After Esquire spilled the beans, pun absolutely intended, with their Secrets of the Little Blue Box article, suddenly everyone from frat boys to actual mobsters wanted a piece of the action. AT&T, caught completely off guard, panicked, and rolled out Greenstar, a nationwide spree of illegal wiretaps just to nab some kids whistling into telephones. You can't make this stuff up. The cops did a complete 180. One day they were roughing up mobsters, who, to be fair, were pocketing millions from bookie scams, and the next, they were cracking down on high schoolers with solder burns on their fingers. Suddenly being curious got you lumped in with masterminding your a Ponzi Nazi ski ime. That's when the vibe turned sour, and the playground morphed into a breeding ground for snitches and suspicion. It was like you could smell the innocence going up in smoke, thick, choking, and unmistakable. So let's take a trip into the chaotic realm of handles, those digital disguises you conjured up on BBSs and party lines. Your handle wasn't just a name, it was your brand, your shield, your secret identity. I still remember my first 2600 meetup. Imagine a gaggle of teenagers skulking around a pizza joint, hunched over chess tables in some dimly lit mall, swapping tech tales with monikers like Space Rogue, Kingpin, Weld Pond. It was like stepping into a hacker-themed detective novel. Handles were cool, but let's be real, that ecosystem was like the high school cafeteria of the internet. Super clicky. Old school hacker culture gets romanticized as this merit-based paradise, but honestly, the insiders were running their own secret society, and asking a dumb question was your one-way ticket to the dreaded RTFM purgatory. It was equal parts outsider sanctuary and exclusive members-only club. Still, there were these oddly human moments of trust when someone revealed their real name. To this day, I know people whose actual names I'll never know. Wild, right? It's kind of magical and kind of like being stuck in a sci-fi novel, pure hacker DNA. Let's crack open the toolkit, shall we? The blue box handled the routing, the red box duped the coin drops, the black box let you swipe from the phone company, and the green box glitched open lines so you could play Puppet Master with calls like some rogue switchboard operator. You mastered the rainbow code fast if you wanted to keep food on the table. Every box felt like leveling up in this ridiculous RPG, think Hacker Pokemon, but with fewer captures and way more scams. And then, bam, electronic switching, ESS, CCIS storms in around 82 and analog bites the dust. Digital signals, time division wizardry, and poof, your trusty blue box is demoted to a meetup prop. I still remember the dramatic destruction of my final blue box. It was like a Viking funeral, minus the flames. But hey, that so-called dead end sparked a whole new mindset. Time to toss the tone tricks and dive headfirst into the brave new world of software and packets. Farewell, my soldered sidekick. Every legendary scene needs its own layer. Enter the L0PH. Forget neon signs or overpriced hoodies. This was a raw, unpolished South Boston loft crammed with ancient hardware, dusty Apple leases, and mountains of rescued tech relics. Boston 2600 birthed hackerspaces before anyone even knew what to call them. Just a ragtag bunch of us who'd outgrown tinkering in our bedrooms and needed a haven for fried motherboards and the sweet aroma of solder smoke. The L0 pitch was fueled by a mix of scavenged junk and bottomless appetites. Space Rogue, Kingpin, Weld Pond, those were my crew. Getting invited in felt like hacking into the mothership's back door. It was all about trading exploits, sharing gear, and pooling pennies just to scrape by. We'd duct tape a modem here, Frankenstein some radio gear there, and maybe even debate the meaning of life between bursts of gloriously chaotic mischief. The L0PHT defined what risk and the art of dysfunctional friendship meant in hacker culture. That vibe? Still lurking in today's scene, whether anyone likes it or not. Because all the greatest legends got snagged, so let's drop some names. Wozniak and Jobs, classic tale, two geeky teens stumble across secrets of the little blue box, whip up their own blue boxes, prank call the Vatican like it's no big deal, and almost get pinched by the local fuzz. That early Apple cash, straight up blue box profits, not IPO dreams. Then you've got the yippies, political pranksters turning phone hacking into a protest art form through TAP. And of course, the infamous Captain Crunch, duking performing and live hack demos like a rock star, and even scoring some federal accommodations for his trouble. The line between bookies and bookworms was so thin you'd need a microscope to see it. Mobsters were taking lessons in peace and love from the hippies, while hackers were cribbing notes from the mobsters. It was like some twisted game of telephone, with everyone mixing and matching their criminal hobbies until even judges threw up their hands in confusion. The whole thing was a chaotic knot of rebellion, revolution, and let's be honest, a healthy dose of shameless self-promotion. As the wires gave way to digits, so did the chaos. Phreakers evolved into size-up stalkers, BBS overlords, and pioneers of web mischief. When copper lines started to feel more like roadblocks, you'd fire up your trusty Hayes modem and go war-dialing, an endless symphony of screeching handshakes, hoping to stumble upon a digital treasure chest. The sacred leave-no-trace mantra quickly dissolved when you realized you could graffiti the internet overnight, leaving your mark like a nocturnal Picasso. I still remember the shift, from slapping kick-me signs on unsuspecting backs to slapping together packet-spoofing scripts, from passing notes in class to passing encrypted whispers through sketchy loops. Suddenly, it wasn't just about learning, it was about dodging digital landmines. Every online hangout felt like a trap, and trust became as rare as a strong Wi-Fi signal. But, oh man, the rush was absolutely worth it. The 90s were the golden age of hacker showmanship, where the goal was to cause the most chaos on the grandest stage possible. No one was safe, not the CIA, Labour Party, Yahoo, MonicaLewinsky.com, or even the US Army. Hackers turned the internet into their personal playground. Remember when Sweden's Power Through Resistance hijacked the CIA's website to back their busted hacking comrades? Or when defacers turned Yahoo into a hostage situation demanding Mitnick's release? Even the government, Army, Navy, got their digital butts kicked just to prove that Secure was nothing more than a cruel joke. The motivations? A chaotic cocktail of politics, sheer anarchy, or the irresistible urge to scream, "Look at me!" Sometimes the hacks were righteous activism, other times they were just digital peacocking. Check out my skills, now you're toast. The hacker community would rally like a dysfunctional family at Thanksgiving, whether it was Mitnick languishing in jail or some random Canadian racking up 99 indictments. It was mayhem with a mission, the closest thing to vandals following a twisted code of conduct. Here's where the dust finally lands. The playground didn't vanish. It got chained up and slapped with a no trespassing sign. Enter the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act, CFAA. Turning what used to be harmless mischief into a felony parade. The punishments got so heavy they might as well hand out anvils, and the line between curious tinkering and full-blown cybercrime just went poof. Progress? Or is it just Big Brother with a friendlier logo? Makes you wonder, what did we lose when curiosity got its mugshot taken? When every digital jungle gym comes with surveillance cameras and every experiment lands you on a watch list, you end up with less innovation and more people too scared to tinker. The analog glory days, those spark gap adventures of rogue inventors and fearless fiddlers, now feel like bedtime tales for a paranoid generation. Maybe I'm just a wistful old hacker, but when you padlock the playground, you don't just keep out the troublemakers, you banish the dreamers, and that's the glitchiest tragedy of all. Hak-Attack out.
The whispers, a data stream, codes the canvas, paint the scheme. We're the ghosts inside the machine. Nothing's safe, not even your dream.